A girl, Annie, is wearing headphones and listening to music as she makes herself some smoothie and goes out for a run. For her 14th birthday, Annie receives a lot of gifts. Her parents gift her a laptop and she soon meets Charlie in an online chat room. Annie plays volleyball and trains at school. Annie seems to be jealous of the kids who are in a relationship. A girl, Serena, in a cool car stops by and invites her to a party because she has an attractive brother. At dinner, Annie talks about Charlie to her family. Her father says Charlie has a lot going on. That night, Charlie asks for a picture, and Annie takes a cute picture and sends it to Charlie. Next day, Annie makes it to the team and rushes to her room to tell Charlie through chat. Charlie is happy to know that Annie made it to the team. However, he makes a confession. At first, he stated that he is 16 years old, but he confesses that actually he is 20 and is in his sophomore year. Annie is taken aback at first, but doesn't make it a big issue. She tells Charlie that she still likes him. Charlie later sends some pictures of himself in volleyball team, and Annie is impressed by how he looks. Annie goes to the party she was invited. The girls kept asking about her brother who didn't join. The girls sounded strange to Annie and soon she left the party. Annie comes back home and sees her dad still in the study room. She talks about the party and wishes for the girls in the school to like her. Charlie and Annie's chat turn from friendly to romantic to intense. Serena invites Annie for shopping and makes her buy revealing lingerie. Annie's mom is bothered by Annie's new friends and her way to fit in the group. That night, Annie chats with Charlie, and he confesses that he is actually a graduate student. Annie is surprised, and Charlie calls her. He explains and makes her understand that he liked her and didn't want to spook her, so he lied about the age. Annie's brother is going to college, and Will, their father, is worried for him. Next day, Annie's brother leaves for college, and at the same time, after 2 months of communicating through chat, Charlie invites Annie to meet him at the mall. When he arrives, she discovers that he is a man in his late 30s. Annie is upset and uncomfortable at first, but Charlie soon charms her into going with him to a motel. He tells her he was afraid of letting her go. When Charlie says that they are soulmates, Annie tries to be a bit mature. Annie calms down and accepts that they love each other, and age is just numbers. Annie's friend Brittany sees Annie leave with a man. Annie's parents are with her brother as he goes to the new phase of life. Annie and Charlie go to an ice cream shop and talk about life. Charlie compliments Annie and she is very charmed by Charlie. After hanging out for some time, Charlie gives Annie her present in the car. It's a red lingerie. Annie feels weird, but she thinks it's Charlie, the boy she has been talking for 2 months. Charlie manages to make Annie go to a motel with him, telling her he wanted to see her wear the lingerie. Annie tries the lingerie and quickly shows to Charlie. Charlie asks Annie to sit on the bed by her. He once again compliments Annie, but Annie says that all these feels weird. However, Charlie soon begins doing some weird things to her. She tells him to stop, but he pushes her down onto the bed and forces himself with everything. He had a camera recording all of it during this time. Annie goes back home, and she is very absent-minded. She becomes rude with her friend. Ever since that day, Charlie stops contacting Annie. She is devastated by all of this as she believed they were in love. At school, Brittany, Annie's best friend, confronts Annie after knowing about her and Charlie. Brittany is concerned about his age and notifies the school administration. The police arrive and depart with Annie, drawing unwanted attention from fellow students at her high school. Annie's parents are called to the police station, where an officer tells them that Annie is being examined by a specialized kit. The officer states that Annie was manipulated by a man in his 30s and she was used 3 days ago. After the examination, Annie's parents with Gail and the bureau officer wants to take testimonies as soon as possible. The events initiate bureau investigation. They try to find evidence from Annie's computer. The bureau try to contact Charlie in an attempt to identify him, but he figures out that it's the police and breaks off contact with her before the bureau can trace his location. Will asks the bureau if she testified to have screamed and asked for help during her ordeal. The bureau tells Will that if she didn't scream doesn't mean she wasn't used. Will is upset by the whole situation and the helplessness with it. Annie's father, Will, slowly becomes obsessed with catching Charlie. He hires a private investigation firm in New Jersey. The private investigation proves fruitless as Charlie masks his IP address, so his location shows up as the Czech Republic. Annie is forced to see a counselor. Annie doesn't know why her situation is a big deal when she had romance one time, while the other girls had done it hundreds of times. Annie talks to the counselor about how Charlie helped her to get to the team by his advice. Counselor asks how Annie felt when she found out he lied about his age. Annie says when two people are in love, nothing else matters. Annie strongly believes that Charlie loves her deeply. Annie shows worry for Charlie, and this amazes counselor. Bureau calls Will and gives an update about the case. They found that Charlie isn't the attacker's real name. Will finds a list where it shows offender's location. Will shows the pictures and asks her to find Charlie. Annie believes that Charlie isn't any offender but her lover and boyfriend. Annie says none of them are Charlie and walks out mid-conversation. Will's relationship with his daughter and his wife starts to become alienating. He also kept the private investigation secret, which really saddens his wife. Annie goes to counselor and talks about how her father is trying to put Charlie to eternal sleep. When Counselor asks what she's going to do if Charlie contacts her, Annie says she wants to talk about their future together. She also says that she felt that it didn't happen to her. Counselor says that when something happens to people that is difficult to accept physically and psychologically, people try to hide themselves thinking it wasn't them. When Will was having an important meeting, Bureau calls and gives update that they almost caught Charlie. When he learns about the chats from Bureau, he even steals a collection of his daughter's chat conversations from the Bureau. Will reads the crazy things Annie told Charlie, and Will goes crazy over the messages she sent. He shows his wife, and she tells Will to not talk about this to Annie. That night, he goes to the company party. But seeing his work, which used provocative advertisements involving young guys, he had a panic attack. Will tries to catch Charlie by pretending to be a young girl. His wife is in disbelief that instead of consoling their daughter, Will is trying to find faults and catch the predator at the expense of her daughter. Will goes to Annie's room and checks her phone. Annie notices it. Annie goes back to school and Brittany approaches her. She apologizes, but Annie is angry because now she doesn't have a boyfriend. Brittany tries to apologize again, but Annie refuses to forgive her and orders Brittany never to talk to her again. Will is distracted in his office and he shares his situation with his co-worker. He is surprised at first that his daughter was attacked, but when the co-worker learns that she walked to the motel herself, his tone changed. Charlie goes back home and talks to his daughter. He wants to know if Charlie contacted her, but she flips out. Will asks why she lied to her parents about Charlie's age. She tells Will that he is the problem, and without him she would have been living happily with Charlie. Will is staring at his daughter with anger and surprise. Will goes to the counselor and tries to find about Annie's situation, but the counselor doesn't disclose her testimony. Annie's brother comes home, and Annie destroys the family dinner talking about Charlie. Bureau comes to meet Annie and gives an update that Charlie's genetic materials have been reported 4 other times. Annie doesn't believe that Charlie could have been a criminal. She tells Bureau officer that he might have had other girlfriends. Bureau officer shows Annie the pictures of other girls who were also reported being used. Annie looks at the pictures and realizes they were all young and looked like herself. She runs to the counselor's office late night and tells the counselor that Charlie had other girls. She finally realizes that she has been used brutally. Her parents come pick her up. Annie finally falls asleep, but Will is obsessed with the chats and how he can catch Charlie. The next day, Annie tries to move on with her life by participating in her school's volleyball game. When she replaces another player who calls sick, Annie's parents come to watch the match. When Will sees a man in the crowd taking pictures, Will mistakes the guy as one of the men from the registered offender list. Will walks straight to the unknown man and starts to strike him violently. The man is a father of one of the students. He doesn't press charges and says it's just a misunderstanding. Will apologizes to the man, but Annie feels humiliated as she confronts her father and insists that she just wants to move on with her life. She begs her father to not remind her about her being used in the past every single second of her life. Annie hears from Brittany about a website in which people are making fun of Annie and the fact that she was used. They posted edited photos of her in weird poses as well as revealing her phone number and address. Annie comes back home and locks herself in the bathroom. She attempts to achieve eternal sleep by overdosing with pills, all while her father is still at home. Annie takes a picture and posts. Brittany calls Annie's mom, who later calls Will to check on Annie. Will searches the house for a semi-conscious Annie. Will forces Annie to throw up the pills. She is hastily rushed to a nearby hospital. Brittany spends the night to keep her company, mending their broken friendship. When Annie wakes up early, she discovers her father sitting outside in the freezing cold. He admits that he blames himself for not doing enough to protect her and pleads for her forgiveness. He says Annie has always been confident and strong. He starts to cry as he talks about how she might have been hurt due to all that has happened to her. Annie embraces him and cries. As the credits rolls, a home video reveals Charlie to be a high school physics teacher named Graham Weston. He is a married father with a young son. That's all for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification for more of real-life mystery stories.